I'm having a hard time getting Zero Paint's textured paint over here right now, so I figured I'd make my own. This is all just experimentation. Nothing is being measured. But start off with whatever you have a whole lot of. I'm using this pre-thin Splash Paints pink surfacer. Then I'm just going to start pouring in some baby powder. And yes, do take note, this stuff is messy. It's going to get everywhere. And again, none of this is being measured. I'm just pouring some in there. If I had to guess, I'd say it's maybe 60% paint, 40% baby powder. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that you want to stir it religiously. Get everything mixed up. You are not going to want this stuff clumped together. You want everything to be dispersed so that it will shoot through your airbrush. So when you think you're done mixing, mix for another couple of minutes. And I'm going to zoom in here to show you what we're looking at. We want this just to be a liquid, a runny liquid. If it's dripping off or not being that runny, just add some more paint because we need it to still be kind of thin. Now since this stuff is rather thick, I'm going to crank up the power on my airbrush here. I got this cranked up to about 45-50 psi. Now as far as setting up the airbrush goes, just use a 0.5 needle, a bigger one if you have it. I'm using a 0.5 needle here and an old nozzle that is so worn out that it should have been just thrown away. And I do have to mention some bit of an oddity here. As you spray this, you're going to be smelling baby powder. It really cuts back on the fumes. I've also noticed too, if you do more than one layer, it tends to get clumpy and it all sticks together. So if you want a nice uniform pattern, just do one thick coat. Do not do layers. Now once it's had a bit of time to dry, just go over it with whatever color you want it to be. For this one here, I'm using matte black because I want to see how it will look to replicate a bed liner in the truck build I want to do next. Whatever you do though, just keep the layers thin so it does not drown out that texture. That is it though guys. As you can see here, this lays out, it looks like a nice uniform texture. Aside from that little flat spot there where I bumped it with this spoon before all the paint was dry, this looks good. Probably won't give Zero Paint a run for its money, but for just what I had on hand, this experiment turned out fairly well.